Dead Doubles is a very detailed account of a very significant counter-espionage investigation that took place at the height of the Cold War in the early 60s. And it revolves around what was called the Portland spy ring.
The British Navy was really, really large compared with what it is today. And the Russians were in the middle of building up their Navy. And so they made a key target of trying to penetrate what was known as the underwater detection establishment down on the coast, southwest coast of England, at a place called Portland. And that's why it's called the Portland spy ring.
And the British MI5 got word through an informant in the Soviet bloc that the Soviets were actually receiving some kind of information from some kind of intelligence gathering operation that was going on targeting the Portland facility. And they focused eventually on a employee of the Portland facility. While they were following him, they noticed him meeting with this other person who they traced through his driver's, his car license plate as a Canadian who went by the name Gordon Lonsdale.
The Russians, and indeed other intelligence agencies, have broadly two types of spies. A lot of spying is done traditionally through embassies. You get people who are given diplomatic cover. Now, the second type are called illegals. Now, these are spies who basically live deep undercover. They have a false identity. And the traditional way in which the KGB had done this, or one major way, was the title of my book, Dead Doubles.
The KGB will sometimes go through a graveyard looking for the names of tombstones that have the names of children who have died young. And then we'll take those names and begin to build their identity, basically take over their lives. So we very often have seen KGB or Russian illegals who have basically exploited the deaths of young Canadian children to take over their lives and exploit them for intelligence purposes.
MI5 had no idea who this man called Lonsdale was, so what's the obvious thing you do? We'll contact our friends in Canada. And the RCMP then started looking into this guy Lonsdale, and they quickly found out that he was born in Cobalt, Ontario in 1924, and he had come to Britain in early 1955. And at that stage, the information about Lonsdale was very, very limited indeed. And that then really got the investigation moving.
They actually raided his safety deposit box at a bank when he was away, and they did find, hidden inside a cigarette lighter, the kind of cipher codes that a KGB officer would use to receive incoming information and to transmit information. So they were pretty certain now that they had a KGB spy in their hands. The whole investigation kind of came to a close when the Soviet bloc informant who had been leaking this information to the West about the Portland spy ring defected. And that precipitated the arrest of the members of the spy ring in the UK, including Gordon Lonsdale.
And obviously a major starting point is to say, well, we need irrefutable, conclusive evidence that this guy who says he's not Gordon Lonsdale is not. And this is where the RCMP had their breakthrough. They went back up out to Ontario and they tracked down the father of Gordon Lonsdale, the real Gordon Lonsdale, who revealed a crucial fact, which was that his son had been circumcised very soon after birth.
This was relayed back to MI5 by the RCMP, who very quickly did an inspection of Gordon Lonsdale, discovered that he was not circumcised. And that was their confirmation that he was an imposter, he was a KGB illegal.
People don't realize that in Putin's Russia today, I mean, these spies of the Cold War period are held up as heroes. They were postage stamps issued by the Russian Federation, both for the two Cohens, Morris and Lona, and also for Konon Molody.
The author, Trevor Barnes, had access to a treasure trove of declassified MI5 documents that were only made available last year. The author, Mr. Barnes, took them and used it to craft a really blow-by-blow account of what is a really well-known and significant spying operation.